This is
the Bottom Bins Podcast.
Oh yeah! Hello and welcome back to the Bottom Bins. Once again, just getting towards that business end of the season. A lot of games happened in the Premier League this weekend. We were back to sort of a full schedule list, so we do have a full 10 games to cover for you. So I think just going to jump right into the episode, to be honest, lads. And I think we'll start with the biggest result of the weekend, that being Brighton absolutely decimating Wolves 6-0. And the most impressive thing is, you know, the likes of Matoma, McAllister, March, they were all rested.
Yeah. Casado was rested.
Casado was rested as well. A lot of these guys were given a break from De Zerbi, and wasn't great for the fantasy element of things, to be honest. But I mean, in terms of the result itself, Brighton absolutely played Wolves off the park.
Yeah, 100%. It shows why Wolves are so far down the table that they are. The gulf in class between the two. Maybe a couple of years ago, you would have thought. I'd say the general football fan would have thought, or general Premier League fan would have thought that Brighton and Wolves were kind of evenly matched teams. But if you were to look at that result, you would think Brighton is where they're meant to be, and Wolves are where they're meant to be in the table as well. 6-0, two great goals from Danny Welbeck, two fabulous goals from Pascal Gross as well. I said it a couple of weeks ago on this podcast. Brighton fans on Twitter, especially, genuinely see Pascal Gross as one of the greatest players ever. And it's clear to see why he's repaying their faith week in, week out. Another great performance from Pervis Estupiñán. Just honestly, he's been one of the best left backs in the league this year. He's been an absolutely fabulous signing for them. And then Dennis Undov as well, scoring 2 goals, his first 2 goals in Premier League football, and he might kick on from here. It's really, really good looking at it. Brighton fans will be buzzing, especially considering the players you said that weren't even playing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a good look for them.
Yeah, with Brighton, it's been common. Like they create so much, they play such good football. Eventually, they were going to steamroll a team, and it was Wolves who were brutal, to be fair. But as you were saying, like they were missing so many players. They will have benched them because they played so poorly in midweek against Forest. And like I seen after the game, De Zerbi said this is the best performance of his career he's seen from a team that he's managed, which is just saying something, because obviously he's managed some decent clubs. But for even Gilmore played well, that way Undav played well. He was saying after the game too, he probably should have played them more during the season, which could have helped, because obviously with their playing style and stuff like that, it's tiring. So it's a massive result, and they'll still be thinking top 4 because they play now Man United on Thursday night. But for Wolves, it was embarrassing, to be fair. But the goals, a lot of them were really well taken goals, especially Gross's goals. First. Yeah. So you just got to give credit to Brighton, the most impressive performance this weekend. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we have given Brighton a lot of credit this season, and rightfully so. I think they probably have been I know Brighton were always a side that played nice, attractive football, especially under Potter. But I think they've been the surprise package this season, in the sense that they have just been so good from De Zerbi has come in. It's almost like he's taken what Potter had built there, but now expanded it to a new level. And some of the football that they play now is just a real joy to watch, to be honest. And I'd say the fans of the Seagulls are really, really happy with their manager, really happy with their current squad. As we've already mentioned, you know, there were a lot of guys that were sitting on the bench this weekend who are regular first name on the team sheet players, but it was good to see them give other players a run out. Like that guy Undav scored 30 something goals last season, and he was the Belgian league, I think, wasn't he?
Right.
I think he was the Belgian league last season, Undav, and he scored 30 something goals in the league last year. Was a really, really talented striker. Had a very, very good goal to game ratio, and look, it obviously hadn't worked out for him up until that point at Brighton. But I think, as De Zerbi then said in his press conference, these guys just hadn't seen enough minutes this season. So you can't exactly call them flops as such, but it was good to see them actually get minutes and play in the system and look comfortable in the system. So I think that's only a positive for Brighton, to be honest, because once these guys start kicking on, and if they can come off the bench and be implemented into that system right away, then God, the future really looks bright. Really looks bright for Brighton.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, they are going to lose players in the summer. We all know that. But you trust that recruitment department that they have down there, that they probably are going to get it right more times than they're going to get it wrong.
Yeah, they've done fabulous, especially tying down the likes of Evan Ferguson to long-term deals. Even Moises Caicedo, even though he is probably going to leave this summer, to get him on that contract so they can get as much money as possible for him was an amazing piece of business. But just on like Dennis Undav, like that's Undav, Welbeck, and Evan Ferguson. They've gotten their striking ranks now for, let's say, the next 2 years. Or sorry, until the end of next season at the very least. Like you're doing all right there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're actually going into the market this summer for a striker.
Well, they signed João Pedro. They signed João Pedro there from Watford, 30 million. He tore it up for Watford in the Championship. Brazilian fella, you know what you're going to get. Like he was a regen Richarlison when he joined Watford. But yeah, look, whenever you look at Brighton's transfer business in the past, you can't look at this 30 million deal for João Pedro and think it's bad business, because if anybody in the league knows what they're doing, it's them.
It's Brighton, yeah.
Definitely. And they recruit so many good young players.
Exactly.
And they've so much coming through. Like your boy Gilmore played brilliantly at the weekend. And
the boy in Ciso, 2 assists.
Yeah.
And they have a lot coming through. So, and like even like Pep Guardiola was like, they play like the best football in Europe. They do. They play such good football. That's why I just think with the manager, they need to hold on to him for another year, because there'll be teams looking at him like
he's
he is
crucial
a top
for them.
manager.
Yeah.
They love a young South American.
Oh yeah.
Buonanotte, Ciso, Caicedo as well. Yeah, like they just. Well, I know
Solly Marchisio,
Estupinian. He's Colombian or Ecuadorian. Yeah, like they do love a South American. But I think on the flip side of the game, Wolves were drastically bad. It has to be their worst performance under Lopetegui, which is strange. You know, you're talking about an established international manager in Lopetegui versus the young up-and-comer in De Zerbi, but if anything, it looked as though the roles were reversed. Lopetegui was the one that looked out of his depth in this game, not De Zerbi, which is strange because, again, like when you look at Lopetegui's resume, he has managed some of the biggest teams in world football. When you manage Real Madrid, that stands to you. That's on your credentials for life, and I think
even if it was only for like a month,
yeah.
Spain as well.
Yeah, Spain.
True, but I think look, it's a tough one for Wolves to take. To be honest, I do still think they're going to be safe. I don't worry about Wolves. To be honest,
the 37 points. They're basically safe.
I know the results not great, but I don't worry about them as such. I still think they're going to be all right. But just a shambles at the back the other day.
Going to Brighton, away to Brighton is one of the toughest fixtures in the league this year, and like we've been speaking about it quite a lot before we came into the studio here about Brighton playing United now on Thursday. Like it's a tough game for United coming up, and like we were all saying, if we get a draw, you know, you're happy with that there because they do have the capabilities to flip you over 6-0 or something if they really have to, if they really want to. Sorry.
Big time. Well, look, we'll move on to the other game that was on Saturday, Crystal Palace. Another win for them. Roy Hodgson is just marching Crystal Palace on. Eze, with the game winner, has been a player we have talked a little bit about this season, but maybe not to the same extent as, say, the likes of Elise or Zaha. And I feel like out of that three, that special three that Crystal Palace have, I think Eze is the one that gets the least amount of love. So I think this week we're going to give Eze a bit of love because although his goal was a penalty, he was involved in everything that Crystal Palace did well on Saturday. Was very progressive with the ball, very comfortable in possession of the ball. Again, looks like a midfielder that is more mature for his actual age. And this was a guy that came from QPR for relatively low money, and if he was to leave Crystal Palace, you know, they could turn a good profit on a player like Eze. Yeah,
Eze is a fantastic player. Whenever they got him and Elise, I think we talked about it last week as well. Whenever they got both of them, I think people were thinking these two guys play a similar position, they play a similar role, how they're going to fit both of them into the team. But especially since Roy Hodgson's came back, they've complemented each other absolutely fantastically. Eze involved with everything. He's a phenomenal player. I think he will get a move this summer, potentially. though I think Palace should really look about keeping him, especially when they're probably going to lose Wilfred Zaha. But what a game, 4-3.
Yeah.
West Ham put it up to them, like Jordan Ayew with his standard 2 goals a year. 2 goals in the game. His worldly performance, his one worldly performance of the year is game against West Ham. But just like we said about Brighton, Selhurst Park is a tough stadium to go to as well. But before the game, I didn't expect a 4-3. Didn't expect 7 goals in that game.
No.
But under Roy Hodgson, like, Slopp's improved, Eze, Olise, Zaha, Ayew starting to score now. It's crazy. Like, Palace scoring 4 goals is madness. Like, West Ham really didn't play that well. They scored 3 corners. You know, Palace were brutal from corners. They conceded 3 corners. But for, like, Palace, that's them safe now. And they just, you know, fair play. I did say, like, when Vieira got sacked, it was unlucky because he had played all the tough fixtures.
Yeah.
They have had an easier run of fixtures, but you still need to win the games, and they're scoring goals now, and they're safe. And, you know, maybe next season, obviously they're probably going to go for a new manager.
Yeah.
So it's up in the air. They're probably going to lose one of them players as well. Like, they're losing Zaha.
Yeah.
They'll probably lose one of Eze or Elise, which is going to be tough to replace. But you just got to give them credit. They were the better team. They deserved to win. West Ham didn't really play that well, as I said. They just scored corners. For West Ham, it's the penalty. Did you think it was a penalty? Did you see it?
I thought
it was soft.
I thought it was soft. Yeah.
It was one of them ones I just felt that if VAR or if the referee hadn't given it, VAR would never have given it. But it's kind of like he did give it, so it's kind of like
you can't overturn it.
But Moyes was saying, like, after the game, he was like, that said they were stopping the soft penalties, and if there was a soft penalty, VAR would overturn it. That's what he was saying that he was told. So I thought it was very soft.
Well, see, what I don't understand is if David Moyes is coming out and saying that he's being told this, why are fans not being told what the managers are being told by VAR? So we could get a better understanding of it.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
I know. It's just a big, obviously a big point for West Ham if they get it, but I just thought it was soft, to be honest.
Well, so did I. But again, I think you're totally right, though, Connor, in your analysis. It is one of those ones where, because the referee gave it, is there enough in it for VAR to overturn? Like, this is the question you constantly find you're asking yourself. You're like, is there enough in it for it to be overturned? Because, you know, all you hear every week is it has to be a clear and obvious error.
Yeah.
But what constitutes a clear and obvious error? Like, because what looks like something to one human being mightn't look the same to another. Like, fair enough, we're all sitting here now and all three of us are saying we think it was soft, but in all seriousness, that referee could have been like, nope, that's nailed on, that's stonewall, that's a penalty.
And once he's given that, how does VAR establish that it's not a clear and obvious error?
Exactly.
How do they say to the referee, no, your judgment was wrong?
It is, and it is tough in that sense. Like, obviously we have talked about it before, like, where rugby, the TMO is literally there to assist the referee. So obviously if the referee makes a call on the field, unless it's wickedly wrong, like, TMO don't normally do that much about it. But if it is something, say, like an off-the-ball tackle or something, TMO is like straight on that, and it's sorted there and then. The referee is contacted right away and told what to issue and what happened. And it just seems as though in the Premier League, VAR is very much... It sort of digs referees out.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say was they spend so much time on, like, the offsides and all that, but they don't have 30 seconds to go to the referee, come over and look at this.
Yeah.
Do you definitely think this is a penalty? Give me your point of view, and they could talk it over.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that? If it's and then he could look at it again and go, like, that's not a penalty.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why. And then they'll spend like 3 minutes on an offside call that's so tight,
marginal.
and they'll, you know, give it offside for marginal call. Like, there was the Southampton game or something, there was an offside. It took like 3 minutes to decide whether it was offside or not, which is crazy. So I just don't know why. Like you were saying with the referee in rugby, like, he'll watch the screen, the TMO will talk to him and tell him what's happening, what he's thinking, and the referee will say what he's thinking, which is a good combo, which I don't think they do enough with the VAR. They don't come over, they don't look at it enough. You know, 30 seconds is not going to kill the game if they're going to spend like 3 minutes sitting on offside calls.
Yeah.
You know, so...
And again, like, even something as simple as, like, do you know the way sometimes the game is still being played on, but the commentator will tell you, there's a VAR check being done.
Yeah.
Those VAR checks when the game is actually being played are 10 times quicker than the ones when the game is actually stopped.
Yeah.
So
The way I see it, though, if the game's still being played, that's not going to be.
Yeah,
They're not going to stop the game.
I was going to say that. When's the last time you heard that and they actually done anything?
something
never
happened.
happens.
Never, ever.
It doesn't. It actually doesn't.
They're looking at this, but it just never materialises.
Yeah.
Well, moving on anyway. We'll go to Brentford and Nottingham Forest. A 2-1 victory for Brentford. Connor, obviously, you are very adamant that the Forest are the side that are going down. And to be honest, at this stage of the season, I don't think I can disagree with you either, to be honest. But, I mean, overall, it was a strange game because Forest did create chances. And that's the first time I've seen Brentford look a wee bit vulnerable at the back this season. Yep. I actually thought Forest could have come away with a point in this game, to be honest.
I was going to say, obviously, I'd said they're definitely relegated, and of course, the next day they go and beat Brighton at home, which is they were 1-0 down, they won 3-1. What a result! I actually would agree with you. I thought Forest had the game they could even have won it. The goal they conceded, the free kick, Navas has to save that, and I was kind of watching it a bit and. At the time, Brentford were struggling. They couldn't create chances. If he saves that shot, I honestly think they get the 3 points. They can see that goal. Then the next goal, Navas again could have saved it. Yeah. They were down to 10 men because they'd used all their subs and Danilo, I think, got injured. I actually came away from it being like, they do actually have a chance of staying up because they show good fight and they kind of set up well. And I looked at their fixtures and they played Chelsea and Southampton. And they're 2 winnable games. To get to 36, they're going to stay up, I think. But it could be a big point if they would have got it. You know, they looked at it too, didn't they? The offside call.
They did,
It was tight as well. Navas still has to save that. Navas has been good this season, but he does have a few errors in him. I think in this game, he made a great save. I think it was like a deflected shot. He made a save, but that free kick, he has to save it. I don't know what he was doing there. And a point would have been massive.
Yeah, definitely.
But I've actually come away, it's crazy, a week in football. I've come away saying,
almost
no chance. I think all of us were I still think they're going to get relegated, but I'd give them more of a chance now. I thought they had 0 chance. Yeah. Now I give them they have a bit of a chance now because they have 2 games there that Southampton at home and Chelsea are brutal. So they do have 2 winnable games.
Yeah.
Well, fucking everybody can beat Chelsea at the minute, if we're being honest.
And us changing our minds is the story of this podcast.
I know.
We all said Forest were down last week.
Yeah. I know.
I think it was that night or the next night, the win against Brighton.
Yeah.
You know, it was that night you texted me and you were like, of course they go and beat Brighton. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Change Your Mind podcast.
No, but I think Nottingham Forest should be coming away with that 3 points.
Yeah.
You can't concede 2 goals. We said the exact same about Southampton when they played Arsenal last week and we talked about it. You cannot concede 2 goals between the 84th minute and the end of the game. This is why Nottingham Forest are in the position that they're in. And an experienced team sees out that game, or at least gets a point. You cannot be conceding 2 goals and losing the game from a winning position the entire game to that. And I know Navas had a lot to do with that as well. He probably should have done better with both the goals, to be truthful. But there's 11 men in that pitch. Well, 10 men in the pitch for Nottingham Forest. But I think an experienced team comes away with 3 points. If I was the other way about, Brentford don't concede 2 goals between the 85th minute and the 90th minute.
The manager did say they were tired, but I thought there was a good opportunity there because I thought Brentford were really poor. It did look like they were done for the season, we don't care. But this game, it was a good chance. And as you said, I think it'd be a missed opportunity. And if they go down by a point or 2,
that's the fixtures
that's the game that cost us.
Yeah. Because I'd say they were looking at those 2 fixtures, Brighton and Brentford, and going, well, that's 0 points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could have managed to have got 6 points out of those 2 games, do you know what? You probably would have been sitting here going, no, do you know what? They're going to stay
psychologically, and then if Southampton next, they would have been if we won that game, 36 points, we're basically safe.
We're done. Yeah.
They would have snapped the hand off for 3 points before both of them fixtures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%. They would have snapped the hand off, but they should be coming away disappointed. And I think Steve Cooper will be instilling into them, you need to be coming away disappointed because that's the fixture you're going to look at the end of the season.
But I have to say, even, obviously, the one thing I like to do is I just like to go and look at other clubs social medias and see what their fans are saying, because obviously us being from here in the north of Ireland, we're not match going fans. We don't get to go week in, week out, so I just like to know what other football fans around England are talking about, or what they're saying. And I have to say, like, the Nottingham Forest support is largely positive. I think a good section of them do believe that they're going to stay up, and do believe that they have the quality to stay up. And when they beat Brighton, it's a big it is a big statement, especially to do it in the fashion that they did do it. I'd say they were maybe helped by the fact that Brighton had just come off the cup semi-final defeat to United, and they were probably a bit dejected, a bit low. But considering then that Brighton went out and put 6 past Wolves that weekend, you're kind of like, God, maybe there is a chance for Forest.
Well, I've changed my mind, to be honest. I changed my mind shortly after the mid-season, to be honest. But especially, as Connor said, like, there is hope in their performances. And I feel that it's not necessarily going to be Forest that stay up, but I think there's going to be other teams that go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Leeds are in a way worse position, even though they're on the same amount of points as Forest. I think they're in a way worse position than them.
Like, Leeds are a worse squad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there's more chance of Leeds going down, and I think Forest, 36 points, as Connor said, I think would almost, you're near enough guaranteed to stay up there with the other teams around you. But if they can get a win against Southampton, which, look, it's going to be a 6-pointer for both teams. I think Southampton's near enough down already, but I think if they get a win against Southampton, I would say they're safe. Just in terms of the other teams that are around them, I would say there's more chance of Forest staying up with a win against Southampton.
Yeah, look, there's definitely worse teams down there than Forest. We did say that. Although, in saying that, I had been listening back to some of our very first episodes. Just in a way, you always like to sort of critique yourself and see what you could do better. But I had said all the way back in maybe our second or third episode that I felt, even at that stage of the season, that Forest had already resigned themselves to going down, and that I think the thing I said was that the reason it signed Cooper to a longer contract was they already had the guts of a good squad. There was a number of sellable assets there that they were going to be able to recoup a lot of money from. So I didn't think them being relegated this season would hurt them too badly, because they would still have the crux of a really, really good squad, probably the best squad the Championship's seen, and a lot of sellable assets that recoups that loss of money or loss of Premier League earnings at least. So I even way back in our third week, I did say I think Forest have resigned themselves to going down. But now I look at them and there is fight in them, and there's definitely worse teams down there than Forest.
This is why we love the Premier League. It's just
it's ever changing.
It's crazy.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Just don't know what's going to happen. Forest could go out and lose to Southampton and then win their last 3. You just don't know.
Yeah,
no, 100%.
But you're just going on a week-to-week basis. Forest looked dejected, they looked finished, and then they go out beat Brighton, and they should have probably got a win against Brentford. It's just, this is what this league is. Sometimes it can be when you play a team as well, as you said, they got lucky enough, they're at home to Brighton, who had just come from an extra time penalty loss. They were dejected, they looked tired. That's why they made so many changes on the Saturday. They got a bit of luck there. They were at home, the atmosphere. There's a bit of luck in the relegation zone too, who you play at the right time.
Definitely. Definitely.
I think Forest, if they do stay up, they need to change their transfer strategy.
Oh yeah.
I think we talked about it last week, especially when we were talking about Fulham. Marco Silva, the guts of Marco Silva's Fulham team came from the Championship winning team.
Yeah.
And he built upon that, whereas Forest went and changed it completely 3 times over. So I think they need to be looking at players that they signed even last summer or in January and looking to get rid of them.
Oh, definitely.
To tell you the truth.
Oh, look, there's guys leaving this summer that have been there less than 12 months.
Yeah, there'll be a big exodus in Nottingham Forest, especially if they stay up. But I just hope they don't. I hope they spend the cash 100% because they'll need to if they want to stay up again next season. But they'll need to recruit better than they did, rather than looking for experienced players who are free transfers or whatever.
Yeah, you got to give the manager credit, because if he keeps them up, that is some achievement.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And he deserves another year. And he deserves, he's had it really tough. There's so many players, and actually at the minute they have a lot of players injured. But I do think if they get relegated, they will lose some of the, your boy Johnson and Gibbs White. I think they'll be gone.
Even Yvonne Danilo.
Yeah,
I think they'd all be gone.
Yeah.
And then Navas will leave, and then you'd be sitting there your boy boy they got in from Atletico Madrid could leave.
Felipe.
Hi, Felipe.
No, but
Renan Lodi. Yeah.
Lodi, he could leave too.
Lodi,
So it'd be tough.
It would, definitely. Well, moving on to Old Trafford, United managed to give it back to Unai Emery for what he did in his opening game against us. So I don't know about you boys, but it was a real shock result. Didn't get to see the game live, only I had to watch it back when I got home because the mighty Armagh managed to beat down and we're into an Ulster final. So I was at with me and you when we were at that game. So we didn't actually get to catch we didn't get to catch United live, but did get to watch the full game then the day after. But I have to say I was very, very impressed with United. And I think there's 4 players. Do you know what? I'm going to highlight 4 players that I think all played to an equal standard. And the 4 players I'm going to name are Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Victor Lindelof and Terrell Malacia. I thought the 4 of them were superb. Absolutely superb. Malacia was flying in with tackles all over the show. Casemiro, I have to say that Casemiro had taken a big dip in form. But I think, again, Villa, that was him back to his best anyway. I think Bruno's just been unreal this season, to be honest. And I did like the celebration. I thought it was...
Yeah, so especially after last season at Old Trafford when we played Aston Villa and he missed the penalty.
Cold.
Me and you were at that game as well.
Yeah, we were.
Missed the penalty and Martinez gave it the big one to the United fans. Yeah. Forgetting maybe that now Bruno Fernandes has scored 5 goals against him since he's been in an Aston Villa shirt, but whatever. Great performance. Casemiro back to his best. Typical saying, form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yeah.
He showed why he's the best in the world. He just dictated the tempo completely, and I think a lot of that actually had to do with Erik ten Hag's starting lineup. He had 4 midfielders. He had Bruno, he had Sabitzer, he had Eriksen, and he had Casemiro. So I think the balance was really there. Sancho again played all right. Rashford, he done what he needed to do. He was the man who took the shot for Fernandez's goal. With Victor Lindelof, he's been the man that we've highlighted recently. In the absence of Varane and in the absence of Martinez, goal line clearance at the very end, saving United, making a crucial 3 points, especially after what happened to Tottenham.
Definitely.
And as you said, Terrell Malacia, some crucial tackles, especially in the box. I think it was Son. Was it Son going? He was in the box 1-on-1, and Terrell Malacia slid in and nicked the ball away from him. I think it was Son. It was either Son or Kulusevski. Or what am I on with? That's
Watkins.
Watkins. No. Was it Watkins?
Villa?
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking getting mixed up here. It was a Villa game. Who was it that was run 1-on-1? And he
was it Jacob Ramsey?
Might have been Jacob Ramsey. Whoever it was some
he slid about 25 yards. Yeah,
came from nowhere because that was a guaranteed goal. And the same with Victor Lindelof's goal line clearance. Douglas Luiz took his first shot. It was blocked by I think Sabitzer, and then the second shot he rightfully was putting it into the far top corner, and I don't know what possessed Victor Lindelof, because literally a second before that he wasn't even on the goal line.
No,
he was like on the right hand side of the post.
Yeah.
And I don't know what possessed him, but he made the move at the right time and it proved crucial to get us to 3 points.
Yeah, it was a massive result for Man United because it kind of keeps them away from Villa, Liverpool, teams like that. But as you said, like Lindelof played really well. Luke Shaw's been playing really well as well. Dallo in the left back position he was playing right back this game, but he has been playing well left back. Obviously Casemiro, I would agree with you about Casemiro. I think recently he hasn't been playing as well.
No.
He hasn't been the same player, but then that's because of his lofty standards. But maybe that's because of match fitness, because he's been suspended so much.
Yeah.
I think he's afraid to put in a tackle, that.
Yeah, you can see that he is afraid to really go in for it. But Fernandes, I thought, really led from example. Like Ten Hag was saying after the game, he is a leader for us. And, his stats maybe not as good this season, goals and stuff like that, but we've seen the games how important he is, because if he's not playing, United are not the same team.
No.
I don't think we've won without him, basically. Well, he's played nearly every game. And for Man United, big result. Obviously, Lindelof has been brilliant, I think, since he's just shown he's so much better than Harry Maguire. Just as a player, he's just so much better. Even at the end, clearing the header off the line, he got the clearance at the end. Even in the air, he's improved, because that was always his liability, wasn't it?
It was.
He's not the greatest in the air. But Villa, I thought, the first half, United were the far better team, deserved the goal. I thought Villa didn't play that well. They were on 10 unbeaten. I expected a bit more, but for United, it's a massive result, especially after the collapse on Tuesday, or on Thursday, against Spurs.
Thursday. Yep.
But for Villa, it's been a great season. You can't really say much about them. But for United, just a massive result, and top four's definitely in their hands now.
Yeah, definitely it is. And I think if the not that I think that they will give it up, but if they did give it up at this stage, it would be.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
It would have to be a monumental collapse.
Yeah, definitely.
We were saying like 3 more wins out of 6 would do it.
Yeah, guarantees it.
Yeah.
And looking at the fixtures, more than likely.
You would fancy it.
And that's if all the other teams around us win all their games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
isn't likely.
It's probably not going to happen.
Not
Yeah.
gonna, But it's a testament to Bruno Fernandes, as you were saying, Dorman. Like, even if you were to look at Emery's first game, as we just said, Bruno wasn't available for that game, and we got pumped, especially in the midfield.
Yeah.
We got overrun in midfield the entire time. Was that Ronaldo's last game?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Even the Sevilla game, Europa League.
Yeah.
It's 2-0 with Bruno.
Yeah.
Without him, it was 5-0.
Yeah.
You know, we're just not the same team without him. And luckily, he continues to play, because it was like touch and go on Thursday if he's going to play. He played.
Yeah. His availability is
It's crazy. He's
unbelievable.
only missed what?
He's never missed a game through injury.
To sickness,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, sickness.
Sickness, yeah.
He is a leader. Like, and even they were saying there that when Maguire came on, he kept the armband anyway. It's kind of like he is the captain now.
Yeah.
Like,
He got his 100th career goal.
yep.
There it is as well. He's insane.
He's unreal.
He is insane.
Absolutely unreal. Well, moving on to Man City and Fulham. City managing to remain victorious 2-1. Erling Haaland, 50 goals.
Craziness.
Is there much more we can really say here?
Serious footballer.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's just... His stats this season are just incredible. And I've seen, like, if he keeps going to his goals per game ratio, he'll get 42 goals in the Premier League this season.
That's mental.
Like, he tied the record, and it was the 40 game. I think they played like 40 games, 42 games then.
Yeah.
Like, what a player. And he hasn't even played, he's played 30 games. He's in the Premier League, he has 34 goals. Like, he's just consistent, and he scores in big games too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just like he scores against the easy teams.
Yeah.
You know, he is an unbelievable striker, and he's just going to keep getting better and better. And City need him, because I wasn't actually that impressed by City in this game, to be honest. But you know, the beats, like, we didn't get to talk about the Arsenal game, but that was a massive result.
Oh, that's it.
And they were missing De Bruyne as well.
I suppose, that's it. We didn't even get to talk about the City Arsenal game, so are we all in agreement? Has all our minds changed?
It's over.
Mine never changed, but
Well, yours never changed, yeah, but
I did. The only thing I did say, I was Arsenal the whole time, but I did say the way they looked, how dejected they looked after that Southampton game when they were all lying on the ground. I was like, there's no way they're going to City and winning.
Yeah.
Because, and you could see straight away, they could see the goal. I thought the only chance Arsenal had, keep it tight first 20-25. It was conceded after 5. The game was over. Like, if Haaland actually did actually play that well against them, he could have had 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah.
But like City, like De Bruyne just always destroys Arsenal, and he done it again. And I think that's it. And then they're beating Fulham. They don't even play that well. They go away to Fulham and get the result. And it was actually kind of comfortable. I know Fulham did score. They could have maybe had a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty, but that's just how good they are. They've won 9 in a row now in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's over. Like,
and I don't think they'll lose an hour.
no, I think they'll win every game left.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it's fair play to Arsenal for putting the fight up in the first place, to be honest, because nobody would have expected, none of us expected it this season, to be honest. But I think over recent weeks, Pep has just kind of Pep and City have just like shown, look, there are still levels in this league, and realistically, over a 38 game season, you need to be at that level week in, week out. Like we're talking about a City that were a so-called transition team this season, and yet they're still the best team in the league. So yeah, there are definitely levels to this.
They've sorted out the defence as well. You know, the Diaz came back and been big. You know, Kanji.
Stones has probably been their best defender this year.
Stones can play as midfielder too.
Yeah.
He's been playing whole midfield. Yeah,
brilliant. You know,
Ake left back.
City were there at the start of the year. Like, where Arsenal did miss their opportunity was they should have had a bigger gap.
Yeah,
and they lost twice to City, and they still could have been ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and they did get unlucky, maybe like the Brentford game where they got robbed. But like, City are just too good, and it just seems to be once they get past January, they just hit every year. It's just a different level because they just go on these runs, and they've won 9 in a row now, and they're the best team in Europe, and they're the best striker in Europe, and it's just who's going to stop them? The treble's on, and they're just animals, really.
I don't think they'll win the treble though.
No,
I don't.
neither way.
I think United will beat them in the FA Cup
Cup.
final. I do.
I don't know.
I really do. And I know some people listening to this podcast will be like, well, obviously you're going to say that you're a Man United fan, but I really do believe that. I do think United's going to beat them in the cup final.
I don't think they get past Real Madrid in the Champions League either. Personally,
I think they're going to kill Real Madrid.
I don't think so. Though.
They should have got them last year, and I think they'll...
I think they've more chance of beating Madrid than they do beating United.
I'd actually, with City in the Champions League, I'd be more worried about them if I was a City fan in the final. Because I think in a one-off game, like even if you remember that Champions League final against Chelsea, they were brutal. That's what would make me as a United supporter a bit like, yeah, we could beat them, because in one-off games in finals, they're not the greatest. Even under Pep, like, I know they won the League Cup a load of times, but in the FA Cup and in the Champions League, they haven't performed semi-final finals when they're at their least
best.
Best.
Maybe. Yeah, I know that is probably the way you would word it. Well, anyway, we'll move on from that, and we can cover that closer to the time anyway. But we'll go to Bournemouth and Leeds. Bournemouth winning this game 4-1. So again, a side that, you know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'd say all of us had all wrote off and were saying, they're definitely down. They've sort of turned their fortunes around over recent weeks, and a really impressive performance, I have to say. And yes, I know it's against Leeds, who are poor opposition, but you can only beat what's put in front of you at the end of the day, and that's exactly what Bournemouth did. Yeah,
4-1. It was a great result. Like Solanke playing a big part again with the goal. Do you know what we said 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago? All of us sat here doing our end of season expectations, and every single one of us were asked to pick one team that was definitely going down, and every single one of us said Bournemouth. And Bournemouth, I'm pretty sure they're near enough safe now. In terms of like guaranteed safety,
39 points.
Yeah. Safe. I would say they are safe. Like, but in terms of like guaranteed safety, I think they might need 1 or 2 points. Brilliant result for them. 4-1. Look, especially against a team like Leeds, who are fighting relegation with them. That was a 6-pointer game. Leeds had won that there. They're in a different position. People are talking about it. Like, Leeds have just sacked their manager this morning, and they've brought in Sam Allardyce until the end of the season to somehow rescue them. But I don't know what the fuck they think he's going to do.
They play Man City.
Next
away from home.
So we'll be saying next week Sam Allardyce sacked as Leeds manager.
10-0.
Yeah. Do you know what? Manager bounced back.
Yeah.
He's going to win Arsenal the league.
He had it. The manager had to go though. Like, he conceded. What was it like? I think it's like they've lost 5 games in April, and they conceded 23 goals.
But they started so well.
23 goals under that one manager
in April, and then 5 games they conceded 23 goals. Oh my god! They are shambolic at the back.
But do you think that's the manager's fault, though?
No, the team's brutal.
Yeah, the team's awful.
I think the sacking of Marsh or whatever that time.
Yeah, it was harsh as well.
Was harsh. I thought it was a bit silly. How harsh?
I don't know, man.
I thought it was.
I sang freaking Taylor Adams.
I know that Leeds are just brutal. Like that by McKennie, like, he's just brutal.
He's crap.
I know you did say he's brutal. You wouldn't look at the fan either. Like,
he's crap.
Did you see the video of him just like ignoring the fans?
Yeah,
in
the hotel. Yeah,
awful.
Yeah,
you'd expect that, man.
It's Monday, cocksuckers.
I swear, Leeds and Chelsea. I could do a full episode on Leeds and Chelsea. I really could, and I'm all here for it. I love it.
It's just the goalkeeper as well. It's just
like, I love how like Payella can't save you, but Pay and a Pint's gonna fucking save you. Some chance, some chance of that happening.
But the goalkeeper for Leeds is just, his head's gone too. He needs to be dropped, because I seen Ben Foster was saying that. He was just like, at the stage you're just begging to be benched, because it's just like, just get me out of here, because 2 of the goals you basically give them. So.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense throwing him in when he's so low in confidence.
I know.
Because he is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's alright.
He is good. Lad, he's what, 21, 22. Like, he's a good goalkeeper. He's up and coming. And, like, in, I think, past 2 years with Leeds, he's had the most saves in the Premier League or something. I know he faces loads of shots, like, but, like...
I always thought he was very overrated, tell you the truth, lad.
I understand that, but, lad, he's 22, like.
I know, but, like, there's people were saying, like... I remember at the time when he first broke out, people were like, he could start ahead of Lloris for France, and you're kind of like, what?
Well, that's stupid. Like, that's unrealistic. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's 22 now. He's like the rest of us. He's still young. He's still new to the trade. Realistically, like he's gonna face pressure, and now that he's probably in the worst spell of form in his career. He needs to be given a break rather than having that pressure just put on him and put on him, put on him, because he has that potential to go somewhere else, make a name for himself, and then genuinely be in contention for the France squad in years to come. But when he's being hung out to dry by Leeds, who already have a shocking defence, but it always lays in the goalkeeper, and we know that being United fans. If he's to go out again next week or whatever and ship 5 goals, that fella hasn't a hope of leaving Leeds. He hasn't a hope.
Yeah.
That's not fair on him. He's 22. He needs that chance to go away and get his head right before even coming back into the team, let alone going away.
I wonder would he stay with them now?
I would
The
doubt it.
championship.
I would
Because
doubt it.
who would take a risk on him at the minute? Like, he's not going to go into a Premier League team and start, I don't think.
In all
think he
seriousness, Arsenal took a chance on Aaron Ramsdale, and that by had just been through 2 relegations in a row. So I suppose there probably will be some sort of suitor for him.
100% there will.
But
Like a Palace or someone, because you can't rely on Sam Johnson at the minute.
Palace,
The
maybe,
goalkeeper's the other one's older, isn't he?
Yeah.
Could be a chance.
maybe one of those newly promoted
Leicester.
sides.
If
yeah.
Leicester stay
To
up,
tell
they
you
need a
what,
goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper last night for Leicester was very, very good.
He's been alright since
He's young as well. I think he's decent.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a perfect segue then into that game, Leicester and Everton. And again, another one of these relegation 6-pointers that I feel like we just keep talking about every week. But I think Everton have done well to come out of there with a point. That's a couple of points now Everton have picked up. Calvert-Lewin was amongst the goals, which is definitely a positive for Everton. If he could get firing in these last few games of the season, it would be a big bonus for them and a big help to their bid for survival. But it's too... Ultimately, what you would say is they are 2 per side.
Yeah.
But it's
big weaknesses.
It's who's worse.
I think there's 4 or 5 sides down there that are just like Everton, Forest. There's a lot of sides. They're all like kind of
the same team.
Leeds.
Yeah.
They're all per sides, and 2 of them are going down. But like it was an exciting game, especially the first half, end to end.
You were texting me about it last night.
Calvert-Lewin scored the goal. Obviously won the penalty. The white pushed him in the back, but his miss at 2-1, 2 yards out, and he kicked straight at the goalkeeper. And the goalkeeper was standing on the left hand side. Yeah. So basically, all he had to do was kick it in the middle.
Just kick it.
And then Vardy went down the other end and hit the crossbar. Like it was that kind of game, end to end.
Yeah.
And Everton kind of probably be happy because 2-1 concede a penalty, and Maddison misses, which was a big moment because I think if it was 3-1, they won that game. And I think if Leicester win that game, they're basically nearly safe because they'll only need another 1 or 2. For Everton, it's going to be tough though because I think they still have like very difficult. I think they play Brighton and City, and they lost Seamus Coleman last night, who got a really bad knee injury.
Yeah.
So he'll be out for a while. But obviously Calvert-Lewin being back's a big one. But it was a really exciting game. But in that game, you could see the weaknesses of both sides. Like defensively, they're not.
They're shocking.
They're shocking. Like they're all over the place. They concede so many chances.
Yeah.
Like. Tarkowski cleared one off the line. Like Vardy actually looked pretty good in that game. He scored and he looked back to his best, which I don't know if it was him being back to his best or kind of the way Everton play, because Everton were they got caught in the counter. I've seen they conceded the most goals in the counter attack this year. Like they were caught the second goal. Like he was just straight through the middle on Michael Keane 1-on-1 because.
Well, sure, Michael Keane's afraid of his own shadow. For God's
so like
sake.
imagine being left 1-on-1. Like no other team in the Premier League would leave that. Vardy, who still has that pace, takes around the keeper 2-1. They lost the ball in midfield. All their midfield was caught up the pitch. One ball through Maddison, goal.
Killed. Yep.
Which is killer. And under Dyche, I didn't expect to see that. But maybe Dyche is just thinking now we've got to go for it. Like
both teams have to throw the kitchen sink.
Might as well just go for this.
Yeah.
So.
Right, I think Dyche has only like 1 win in 10.
And I was against Arsenal.
It's really.
It's
really falling apart for Everton.
Like for a while, when Dyche first come in, you were sort of thinking to yourself, no, like they're all right. Like the ship will be steady, but it's not really been, to be honest.
Everton is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Everton the only team that's never been relegated from the top division?
Yeah. They're the only team that have never been relegated, but I think it's them and Arsenal have spent the most time in the Premier League.
Like it's a historic moment if Everton go down. And it is looking more and more likely. Like we were talking to Mincy there on the way up to Clones.
Oh mate, he gives them no chance.
He's fully
He's getting his championship season ticket next year, lad. Like he's
booked his plane and all for the final day of the season. He's going over. to watch Everton's
Relegation.
be confirmed.
Who did they play last game?
Bournemouth.
See, that's winnable at home. That's winnable. Bournemouth, they'll be on the beach, like.
I'm telling you, it'll go down to the last game of the season. It will go down to the last game of the season, and there'll be, I'd say, 5-6 clubs that all have a genuine chance of going down.
Yeah, and hopefully it's Leeds.
Yeah. Yeah, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because fuck Leeds. So, but
Moving on.
yeah, just swiftly
End on
move
that.
on for that one. Newcastle, Southampton. Obviously, Newcastle making it look comfortable again. Beating Southampton 3-1. I did throw out a wee stat before we come into the studio to the boys, so I'll give this little stat to use, folks. So, obviously, Newcastle's biggest cult hero strike partnership was Papi Cisse and Demba Ba, and in their best goal scoring season, the 2011-2012 season, they managed to get 29 goals and 6 assists. Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak this season have combined for 25 goals and 5 assists. So they still have a chance to beat the cult hero strike partnership.
Yeah.
They probably are good enough to beat that cult hero strike partnership, but I'll just ask you the general question, lads. Who would you prefer, 11-12 Cisse and Ba or 22-23 Isak and Wilson?
Isak and Wilson.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would go
I
Isak
agree.
and Wilson.
Oh, 100%. They are two ballers, like.
Yeah.
Ballers. And like we were
Streets
even
won't
saying-
forget players,
Oh,
like.
definitely not. And like we were even saying there, 11 years today was them 2 goals against Chelsea for Papi Cisse.
Yeah.
Probably the best brace in Premier League history. But, yeah, no. Alexander Isak. You see last week when Isak got that assist? Was it
Against Everton.
against Everton?
Oh, it's
Oh my God.
crazy.
I was like, do you know what? That's a baller there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would want him in my side
Yeah.
10 times out of 10. And Callum Wilson's fucking sick.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, he is.
He came off the bench too, and he just changed the whole game.
Oh.
Yeah.
They took Gordon on or off, and they brought him on, and it just
Who, Isaac?
no, Wilson.
Wilson?
Wilson.
Oh,
So
he got
came
2
off the-
goals.
Yeah, he came off the
Yeah.
bench. He almost got a hat trick too. Hit the crossbar in the last minute.
And he had a goal disallowed.
Yeah. So he changed the game, and Isak is unbelievable too. Like
Yeah.
he's just got everything really, doesn't he? Like pace.
He's
He can hold up the
pace.
ball. He can take men on.
Yeah.
He can score goals.
We said it last week.
So
in
good.
terms of like striking options, Newcastle probably have the best striking options in the league.
Yeah.
As
Yeah, 2
strikers,
strikers,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Them
Aye,
and City
2
maybe.
strikers, yeah.
City, maybe.
And City, yeah.
I said it, yeah.
Yeah.
Holland
Alvarez, yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah, fair enough. No, you would give it to City.
Yeah, give us City.
But Newcastle, close second.
Yeah.
Definitely close second. Because,
But we said that as well when they played together. They looked really good together for Newcastle. So
Compliment each other.
it's kind of
well.
surprising he dropped Wilson, but I think he said after the game it was more
it's
Injuries.
security but like that is the problem. Like when you do play Isak and Wilson, you have to play a 4-4-2, and like nobody plays 4-4-2 anymore.
Yeah.
And it is a position that's very easy played against. You know, I think any team now that plays 2 in midfield, it's difficult. It's difficult because everybody's running 3 in midfield, and like you know what's going to happen if you set up with a 4-4-2. You're always going to be playing on the counter. Like you can't be the dominant team in the game, and it is a shame. I wish everybody would just go back and play 4-4-2. To be honest, like they were the good old days.
the thing about it as well. Like it's where would Newcastle be in the table? I know they're still third if they had both them fit
All season.
All
all
season.
Yeah.
Like they've won 8 and 9. They're flying. They haven't lost many games. I think they've lost less than City.
But think of that period when they went through like what was it, like 6 or 7 draws in a
Yeah.
row. Like and Isak wasn't fit at all.
And
then
Wilson was injured
and Wilson
too.
was injured
Yeah.
for a few of those games too. Like if like
We kept saying if they had a striker, they
they'd
would
be
have won
fine.
that game.
Yeah. So
Could they have been?
could they've been pushing City and Arsenal?
Yeah, 100%.
They
I
could
think they could have.
They
100%.
could have.
And that makes you just think like next year. But I think Eddie Howe is being smart because they played midweek. Wilson played the 90.
Yeah.
He's resting him because he's like, I can't risk him getting injured again because he's always injured.
Yeah.
But then when he came on, he just changed the game. Gordon apparently didn't play that badly, but he missed a good chance. He hit the post. But Wilson's just obviously a way better player than Gordon. And it's worth. You're playing Southampton, who are the worst team in the league. It's worth putting 2 up top. Like you might as
Oh,
well
yeah,
at
yeah.
home. And for Southampton, that's gone now. And Southampton are a weird team because they drew with Arsenal, they put it up to Newcastle away from home. I think in Bournemouth in midweek they were unlucky. Like they tried, but it's too
They're
little,
just,
too late.
yeah, they're just not good enough.
They're just not good enough, and
Just-
they're going down to the championship.
Yeah, they are. I know we keep saying there's 5 or 6 teams down there that are sort of similar to one another, but I think Southampton are visibly the worst team in the Premier League. Like they're brutal,
They're just
to be honest.
side. Yeah.
Well, we'll move on then to the last game of this game. Well, there is a game tonight, Arsenal-Chelsea. That's part of this game week, but that's being played tonight, so we're not going to cover it, folks. Apologies to the Arsenal and Chelsea fans.
Basically, tell you the result. Arsenal's going to smack Chelsea. Because Chelsea are shit.
Well, I was actually going to say...
Spoiler alert, man.
Spoiler alert, lads.
I would say...
I look like such an idiot.
Well, I was just going to say, I'd say Arsenal and Chelsea fans are probably happy to not hear us talk about them this week, because it probably wouldn't have been too nice, to be honest. But look, we'll go to Liverpool and Spurs, 4-3. The biggest talking point in this game, lads, is that the guy that scored the winning goal probably shouldn't have been on the pitch.
Yeah.
Definite red.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
Ridiculous decision.
And again, folks sitting at home, not just saying this because it's a Liverpool player, but it was a stonewall red card. Like, he kicked him in the head.
Yeah. He literally left a gash on Ollie Skip. Like, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. Even like I know you're saying, oh, we're not saying this because it's Liverpool. Like, Jimmy Carragher or Jimmy Redknapp and Souness both said, yeah, no, it was a straight red card.
Yeah.
Like, he endangered the opponent. He fully had all 6 studs in his face. Head, height. It wasn't like Ollie Skip's head was down like at his knee or whatever.
No.
Like, it was a high foot anyway. Like, it was a disgraceful decision.
And again,
both VAR and the referee.
This is another one where you look back at some other decisions this season and you're thinking to yourself, well, how come that's a red, but that's not a red? You know, there is just, again...
Casemiro gets a red card for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
100%.
Definitely.
He gets
100%.
2 red cards for that fucker.
Casemiro gets a red card for that, and probably a massive ban. Mitrovic would get a red card for that.
Well, he's like Xhaka, who plays for Arsenal.
Xhaka would
he
100% get a red card for that.
Yeah.
Guys like Mings would get a red card for that.
Definitely. Like, it's out of control. It's high. How's it not a red? Is it not in the rules? Like, even your boy Dermot Gallagher there was saying it was a red.
Yeah.
And he always backs the red.
Yeah, all the time he does.
If he's saying it's a red, that's when
It's
you know it's a
definitely
definite
a
red.
red, yeah.
He said something like, it's a red in Europe or something, and it's a red here, basically. Like, it's a red anywhere. Like, it's a red, like, it's a red everywhere. Like, I hate that there when they're like, oh, in Europe they would have give that. In Europe they would have, you know, like in the Champions League it's a red card. It's just a red card in general. Like,
But apparently Brexit now impacts referees.
Right,
So it does. No, in all seriousness though, Liverpool did manage to find something and come up with the late winner. Only, I say it was like 90 something seconds between
it was a good assist
the
by,
two goals.
Lucas Moura. Good assist.
Oh, wait to hear this here, lad. I'll give you a good laugh. So me and him were watching TV last night, and I was flicking through my phone, and for some reason Richarlison come up on my TikTok. Mate, imagine getting beat 4-3,
Wait to hear
but
this, lad.
still uploading your goal to TikTok.
Oh God.
And your celebration, taking your top off
rip
and all.
your shirt
Pigeon
off.
dance, mate.
Yeah, he put that all in his
I'm
TikTok.
gonna say it now, but Richarlison is the biggest knob in the Premier League, like.
I was watching. The
And he is so shit.
That's his first
He's not
goal.
good, lad.
That's his first goal. That's Tottenham's
Yeah.
record signing. First goal for,
Lad,
for the
to
club.
see him.
And it was April 30th or something.
Yeah, ridiculous.
him going
First Premier League
fucking
goal.
him going
Awful.
buck mad, like.
Yeah.
But imagine putting it up on fucking like TikTok, like,
After getting beat.
after
like,
getting beat,
I think he was just happy he scored.
and it was a
he's
shit
buzzing,
goal.
lad.
Like,
He
even
was buzzing, pigeon dancing.
At the
and all
end, he
that.
didn't even seem that disappointed. He's
No.
kind of like, oh, do you know what?
I fucking
take-
done
I'll
my
take my
part.
goal.
lad.
Do you know what?
And his goal was terrible. Like, it was such a fluke.
He didn't even hit it. like.
I don't think I actually. Well, I don't think he'll be at Spurs next year.
It's a big call.
Depends on the
Genuinely, I'm not
manager, though.
joking. I'm not
Depends on the
joking.
manager.
And I know Spurs fans that would agree with me and that do not want him there. He's crap. Like,
I understand fans not wanting him there, but that's a big call to say he won't be there.
No,
I
don't
think it's
he
just
will.
the money that they've spent on him.
Don't get me wrong. When I say I don't think he'll be there, I
They'll
don't
not get rid
mean
of him
I don't
on Harry Kane.
I don't mean
Oh,
a
on
sale.
loan?
I could see it being a loan.
Or like a
Not
fee
if
or
Kane
something.
goes, not a chance. Not a chance. Not if Kane goes.
Or like
No, lad.
it could be like a loan deal with a fee kind of thing. Like the Lukaku one.
They haven't the options though, and they're not going to spend the money.
Well, they
Do you
might
know what I
do.
mean? I know, but we've been saying they might do for years and years, and they just don't. They've needed a centre back for I don't know many years, and they don't do it. Skriniar's been going to Spurs for the last fucking 5 years, and now he's going on free to PSG. Hasn't fucking played for Spurs yet.
It was a crazy game though. Like, it was 3-0 down. They brought it back. They deserved to bring it back. They should have actually scored more goals.
Yeah, well, they should have won the
Liverpool-
game.
Like, let's be honest here with Arnold, right? He sets up a goal. What a pass. Played really well. Defensively, he's just so bad.
Yeah.
Son was just taking advantage of him every time. Van Dijk got absolutely destroyed by Perisic for the first goal, which was hilarious.
Oh, that was unreal. Hey,
Yeah, he never got dribble past for like 18 months, and now he's just getting
Dribble past all
on
the
the
time,
regular,
lad.
lad.
Oh, it's unreal.
yeah, class.
But like, if there ever was a team that it was going to happen to that scored in the 80th minute to make it 3-3 and then lose after Richarlison does that stupid pigeon dance, takes his top off, like it was going to be Tottenham. Like Lucas Moura, what is he doing? Why was he in the left back position as well?
I don't know.
And I don't know what he's doing. Just boot
Talking
it.
football, but
To be fair, yeah, what's he doing in the left back
I know.
position? He was probably told to stand in the left back position,
Yeah.
because I'd say Ryan Mason hasn't a fucking notion what's going on. Like,
But like, I know he was raging off the game because he was like, we were the far better team as well. And
hey, sure, see, this weekend really pissed me off. So like, see some of the results in some of the games. Oh my god, I feel like, see, in the Premier League sometimes we just get the most comical things that actually make you sit there and go, like, this is meant to be like the top level of football, but yet we see some serious dicks in the Premier League. Like,
that's the thing. Like, it's the Premier League. Like, there's so many mistakes.
it's
Like, there's so much. There is a lot of like the Dyer starting centre back for Tottenham. He is brutal, and Romero or whatever his name is fucking his penalty.
Liability.
His penalty he gave away was so stupid.
Oh.
He was just angry. We're 2-0 down. I'm just going to stick the boot in
Yeah.
this, but he just mows him penalty.
Well, to be fair, I did say that in the
So
car.
stupid, like.
I said that in the car the other day.
Yeah.
I actually used to think Romero was decent,
I know.
Oh, he's such
but the last maybe 5 or 6 times I've watched Spurs on TV,
such a liability.
he's not good.
He
Like,
plays too much in his head because I think like in terms of football and ability, I think there's a really good centre back there. But
Yeah.
him and Richarlison are actually quite similar in my opinion, and like Xhaka and stuff. Remember the other day whenever Xhaka knocked into Trent Alexander-Arnold in the game, and that hyped up all the
Yeah.
crowd and
Yeah.
it hyped up Trent. Xhaka definitely thought about that the rest of the game, and that put his game off.
yeah.
If an incident or something happens with Romero and the decision doesn't go his way, or if he gets knocked into and he doesn't like it, he'll think about that the rest of the game, and when's the next chance I can hit him? That's what he thinks about rather
Yeah.
than, oh, I'll take the ball here and that'll show him. Do you know what I mean? He's like, no, I'll fucking two-foot him or something.
Yeah.
Give away a penalty
That's
here.
it. Like, we're 2-0 down here. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, fuck it.
It's like that Roy Keane thing, and I'm just going to go kick somebody.
Yeah.
Make myself feel better. That's basically what he does.
Yeah.
And like the loss in the Champions League, he got sent off. He was brutal because
Oh.
He's
he
too
gets,
emotional.
He gets booked so early because he just comes out with these crazy tackles,
Yeah.
and then he'll actually get one. They get the ball, and you'll be like, he's decent.
He's fucking good.
He started for Argentina. Oh, he's decent. And then you're like, the same game, you'll be like, what is he doing? Like,
Yeah.
he's just an
far
idiot.
too emotional.
You know, he's just too emotional. But
Yeah.
Diaz is back for Liverpool. He scored a good goal. Like, he's a
He
big
makes a
player
big
for them.
difference.
He is a big player for them. I just think Liverpool, as we keep saying every week, their midfield is brutal. They need to make signings. They might get Europa League if they're
Yeah.
lucky. I wouldn't even mind them getting Europa League or Conference League, to be honest.
Yeah. Slow them down
Stretch
a wee
out
bit
their
next
squad a
season
wee bit,
too.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But for Tottenham, like, their season's over. I've seen like their last 6 away games or something have like 2 points. Like, it's just over. They've crumbled, and they fought back against United and they fought back against Liverpool, but
Yeah.
just typical Spurs. I don't know where they'll probably
know.
come like 7th or 8th.
Like, I'd say Harry Kane's coming off that pitch at the weekend and he's going, what am I doing? Like,
I know.
what am I still doing here? Like,
And they totally outplayed Liverpool from the 20th minute till the 90th,
Yeah.
really. And like, he must be just thinking, and he played well, so he's just thinking, what have I got myself in here
Yeah.
for? Like,
what more do I actually
but he
have
needs
to
to
do?
get out of there. He needs to push
Oh,
it.
100%.
He needs to just
100%. Well, look, he knows where he's going next year anyway, so he does. Right, moving it on then to the picks of the week. So, Connor, coming to you, who is the Premier League player of the week?
This week was actually tough because Lerma scored 2 goals. Wilson scored 2 goals. I'm going to give it to a Brighton player because they were so good. I'm going to give it to Danny Welbeck. 2 goals and assist. All around. Brilliant performance. He's obviously, because Ferguson's in there, maybe not getting as much game time, but he is a good player. And he played really well at the weekend. I had to go to a Brighton player because they were the best team.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to Danny Welbeck.
Big D-man Welbs, but
Bet you he didn't expect the start of this season to be one of your picks of the week,
No,
lad.
but
I know.
There's been some strange names.
There has,
So,
yeah.
Like, I like the variant though. Like, you don't want to go like, you could go Wilson, but I
Well,
think
to be fair, though, I actually did think, even against United in the cup final, I thought Welbeck actually did play
Yeah.
quite well.
Mm.
he scored.
did, yeah.
He scored against Chelsea as well after he came on. Like, he is
Scoring
a decent
goals,
player. I'd be worried about him. He played well earlier in the year against United as well, so
Yeah,
I'd
he
be worried
did.
on Thursday. Like, good player.
My fantasy pick of the week this week is going for a Man City player, just because they're playing that well at the minute.
You need to bounce back
I
after
do.
last week, lad.
And I just think for the form that he's been in, well, do you know what? I say I needed to bounce back.
The thing not getting assist.
I mean, no, he didn't even let.
Did he not?
No, that
It's down on like the Sky Sports thing as an assist.
No,
didn't
even
get
get
on
one.
fantasy anyway.
Didn't get on
Oh,
fantasy.
I know.
So he didn't get a goal or didn't get an assist, but they did win the game 4-1.
Yeah, and you went rogue, to be fair.
I did, and I
Yeah.
said I was going rogue.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought, I mean, they won the game 4-1.
Yeah.
You'd think when they win the
know.
game 4-1, he'd be
He'd do
part of
something.
something.
Yeah.
Obviously just not to be, so fuck you, Billy. You prick. But yes, I'm going to go a wee bit rogue again this week. I'm going to go for a defender. I haven't really gone for any defenders this year, to be honest. I think I picked Trippier one week and Trent another week, so I'm going to go another defender. I'm going John Stones.
Yeah.
He has picked. I've only had Stones in my team maybe about 4 or 5 weeks now, but he has actually picked me up a lot of points in
Yes,
recent
yeah.
weeks. I think for just like clean sheets and even the odd chance to get involved amongst the goals with the way City play and
Yeah.
the way he plays, especially.
He scored against Leicester.
Yeah.
And he scored against Arsenal. Like, he is getting goals now.
He is, and
He's playing midfield as well, so he is more likely maybe to get an assist
to
or
get something, yeah. And even just the way that City play, their fullbacks do tend to sort
go
of
forward.
play as like auxiliary midfielders.
Yeah.
So yeah, my fantasy pick of the week, I'm going John Stones.
Yeah.
Good news.
He's been brilliant, to be fair. Yeah. Okay, OD's opinion this week. A bit of a different opinion. So I'm talking about a fixture. So on the 20th of May, so the second to last game, Liverpool play Aston Villa, in my opinion, is that game decides which of the two teams gets Europa League.
Not a bad call.
Yeah, I can't see Liverpool getting top 4. I was going to say get European football, but I think I'm writing off Spurs too much. I know it's easy to write off Spurs looking at the last few weeks, but I think that would be writing them off a bit too much. If Spurs do have a capitulation in the next 2 weeks as well, I would say get Europe. Yeah.
I say I actually think Villa.
No, sorry, the other way about. I think Villa will get Europa League. No, hang on.
What is
am I
it?
trying
Is
to
it
say here?
5th and 6th for Europa League?
5th and 6th, yeah.
See, I actually think Villa and Liverpool are both going to get Europa League. I think Spurs, it'll either be Spurs or Brighton.
Brighton have like 3 games, lad, on everybody.
Yeah, I
Do
think
they? Yeah.
Brighton are
Brighton.
100% getting Europa League, in my opinion.
I think Liverpool and Brighton are going to get Europa League.
Yeah, it's between Liverpool and Villa to get Europa League,
Because
in my
it's at
opinion.
Anfield and have a game in hand and they're ahead of them.
Yeah.
So I think Liverpool and Brighton for Europa League.
Yeah, Brighton have like 3 games and everybody. It's just where Spurs end up in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that was
Do you think
Spurs.
Spurs will be completely out of Europe?
Would that not be a good thing though? Would you really want Conference League?
I think Spurs will do well to finish 8th. Genuinely. I don't think Mason wins any games with them.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No. Not a chance. Not a chance.
They just
I'll probably fucking come back next week and they'll have won a game, like, but
It's the way they start those. Like, they give teams just big leads. Like, we said that at the start of the year. We were like, they just give teams
Yeah.
leads and they'll do it again. Like, it's so hard to win games.
they're like Mason isn't. He's not a manager, and their team's crap.
Yeah. Well, looking at the table, from 9th, you've got Brentford on 50 points, but 34 games played. You've Brighton on 52 with 31 games played.
Okay.
Then you've Villa 34 games played with 54 points. Spurs 54 points, 34 games played. Liverpool 56 points, 33 games played. I'm going to say the top 4 set in stone, being Newcastle and United, whichever finishes 3rd, whichever finishes 4th. But I would say Brighton's going to finish 5th because only 31 games played. There's 2 games on Liverpool and only 4 points behind them. It's that Aston Villa and Liverpool game to me is a 6-pointer, and it'll decide who gets Conference League and who gets
Europa League.
Europa League.
It looks like, yeah, it's between Tottenham and Villa, really.
Yeah. And they're in the same points. They're in the exact same.
Like, Tottenham are going to come top 8
Yeah.
because Brentford, there's a bit of a gap there, but it's
Yeah.
just, will they come? Would you want to come 7th? Who wants Conference League? I know, I think
The likes of like Brentford
Brighton
would
and
take
all.
that no ball.
Brighton would take it and I think
Yeah.
Villa would take it.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why Tottenham wouldn't want that.
Do you know what
I
though?
don't
We said this last year. We were talking about this last year when Eric Ten Hag was coming in, and it was up in limbo whether we were going to get Europa League or Conference League. I wouldn't have minded Conference League this year necessarily in Eric Ten Hag's first year as a stepping stone competition for him to get a bit of success. but obviously we won the Carabao Cup and it's going really well under him so far.
Yeah.
But I mind actually having that conversation with, I think it was you, Richie, and I was just saying, like, Europa League wouldn't be the worst thing for a new manager coming in, considering how dysfunctional we were last year. So I think maybe for Spurs, who are very dysfunctional and probably in a similar, if not worse, situation than we were in last year, Conference League wouldn't be the worst thing ever. It'll give them a realistic chance of winning something. Sure, even look at West Ham this year.
It's
Doing
so,
shite in the league, and it looks like they're going to win the Conference League. Don't know what I mean?
the only thing is the reward for it is Europa League.
Yeah.
But that's why Europa League is way more important, because if you win it, you
in
get
the
the Champions
Champions
League.
League.
And I think next year a lot of teams are going to improve, and I think Tottenham are really going to struggle to get top four next year.
Yeah.
Unless they get a really good manager in and they spend money, which I don't think is. They might get a good manager in, but will they spend the money is the question.
Yeah.
So for them, I think they need Europa League.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get it.
No, I agree.
They'll Spurs will finish 8th.
This year?
Yeah, they'll finish 8th.
Yes, 7th or 8th. I think I would agree. Yes.
In fact, I think even Brentford might finish higher than them as well.
Really?
It could be 9th, maybe. They're that bad, honestly. Take Kane out of that team, they are horrible.
Like Kane has 24
Horrible.
goals this year, like 24.
Yeah, he's been
If I told you at the start of the year Kane had 24 goals, you'd be like, Spurs probably get top 4.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near it.
I know.
It just shows how bad. I know Son's improving a bit, but why is it Kulusevski's been poor, Richarlison's been disaster. And there's been, like, their backline is...
Their midfield without Bentancur is terrible.
Yeah. Eric Dyer at the back is just... Your boy Porro can't defend. You know, Romero's been terrible. You know.
Dyer is terrible. Longley is terrible. Okay, you could go through every Spurs player
Just go through the team.
and you can make a good case for them being terrible.
Yeah.
But no, I do. I think 8th or 9th
For Spurs.
is where they're going to finish this year.
Yeah. Well, what about Liverpool and Villa, just to finish off?
I fancy Villa.
You fancy Villa in the Europa League?
I do, yeah.
So do I.
I think Liverpool come 5th and Brighton come 6th. I think Villa come 7th.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Do you know what? It's realistic, to tell you the truth. I don't know why I'm wowing about it. Like, I just think... I don't know. I have a niggly feeling that they're going to get Conference League this year, Liverpool.
I don't think Liverpool will lose another game, or I think they'll win every game left.
Hope so.
I don't know. Because you know what Liverpool's like, though? Like, they could just drop points next week. So, it's hard to say. That's what it is.
We'll finish up.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, you can find us on the Parlay Sports app, PRLY Sports, on the Apple App Store. Please follow us at Bottom Bids Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Oren, do you want to maybe plug the shorts?
Yeah, so we've been uploading some shorts, some YouTube shorts onto our YouTube channel. They've been doing really, really well. So there'll be a lot more content on there. It's going to be probably the same content that you will see on TikTok and Instagram. So if you follow us there, you will see it. But look, we want you to support us on all our platforms, and YouTube's one of our biggest platforms. So definitely hop on over there if you're missing the content.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to have 2 episodes for you this week, folks. So you'll be listening to this on a Wednesday, but we will have an episode out on Friday. We got a lot of good responses about our top 15 summer transfers. So Friday's episode, not to give too much away, but we're just going to be looking at some free agents over this summer and talking about where they might end up and where we would like them to end up. So once again, thank you very much for listening, and as always, keep it bottom bins.
Keep it bottom bins.
Bottom bins.